Hello, explorers, and welcome to episode 29. And boy, let me tell you, it's good to be home. As always, I'm joined by the lovely Taylor, all the way from Canada, and as
Hello
ever, the
there.
handsome chap himself, Jimmy from Kansas.
Yo.
So we'll start with you, Taylor. How's your week been?
I've had a really busy week. I have been reading a lot of The High Republic, as you guys know. I finished Tempest Runner, finally, the audio drama, which I kind of expected a little bit more out of, but regardless. I drove one of my friends and one of our listeners to the airport from that he's flying from Vancouver to London. So, David, I already miss you. And it's weird that you're not at work anymore. And then I met some of our other listeners just in a parking lot. And they're like, hey, like, I see, like, do you have any cards? And I'm like, I literally just gave my whole handful of cards to David to take to London. Like, oh no. So I gave him some stickers instead. So it's nice seeing you guys. So crazy, crazy week. What have you, Jimmy?
It's been good. High Republic obviously started off with the Eye of Darkness. That has not disappointed. I'm about 150 pages in. So,
Oh my gosh.
it's been really good.
Awesome.
I think Marchion Ro is panning out to be one of the biggest, baddest dudes that Star Wars has had. So that's great. And my sister came in. My sister flew in on Thursday for the holiday. So it's great to have Hank the Tank's favorite aunt in the house. So that's been cool. But yeah, it's been a good week. We've got 2 days of school next week. Then we're off for American Thanksgiving. So
Right.
Nice.
How about you, Jack? How was your week? How's it been being back home?
Oh, it's been absolutely fantastic. I'm just going to forget about the flight and what happened with the flight and how long it took. That was absolutely emotional, but it's nice to be back home with the family. I've tried so hard to get back into the High Republic and do the Path of Vengeance, and every time I put the Audible book on, I just keep falling asleep. And I don't know if it's just how softly spoken it is, but I think I'm just going to have to get the book and just put paper in front of me.
The books definitely.
I can't get past chapter 6 with it, and I just it's killing me off. But yeah, apart from that, it is really good to be back home. Had a week's leave. And yeah, just enjoy my time
It should
back
give
home.
you the rest of the year off after all the crap you went through.
Oh mate, don't let the lads hear you say that. Oh god. Oh god. Cool. So, as always, then let's have a look and listen then to any Force encounters that we've got this week, and we'll start off with you, Jimmy.
All right. So, like I said, one of my Force encounters was getting the High Republic Phase 3 started. Pretty excited about that. And I had forgotten to finish the Blade comic. And I did it just before I started reading it. Well, actually, that's not true. I read a character's name. I'm like, man, that character's name sounds familiar. I went back and I read the Blade, and they connect. And then, of course, you've got the Blade running around doing things. But I also learned today that the real path to the dark side is being a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. Because I'm telling you what, anger, frustration, rage,
Tears. There was tears.
I have not been, and I didn't expect a ton, but man, being a Pittsburgh Steelers fan is a direct path to the dark side with the way they've been. So, yeah, that's been my Force encounters. Taylor, hopefully you have one that's not leading you to the dark side.
Actually, no, opposite. Today we went out to Toy Traders, which is the massive toy store that has a whole section of Star Wars stuff and all the Star Wars comics. So it's funny that you said the Blade, because I picked up the Blade today.
Oh wow.
Nice.
I picked up the whole I picked up the whole volume. And I'm going to go through it because Jimmy told me that I absolutely have to. And I also got the Shadow of Starlight first comic, first edition.
Yeah.
And then on the way home, I stopped at the pet store and I picked up 2 black angelfish with like red eyes. And they're so cool. And I'm going to get them Sith names. So if anybody has any like favorite Sith, I'm like, what about... My husband's like, don't even ask me. Just name them whatever you want to name them. So... Big Force encounter this week. Lots of stuff today. Just today.
Nice. I love the Blade as well. The Blade's absolutely quality.
Yeah, you told me to read that like
I'm
months ago and I didn't. So now that Jimmy's told me,
yeah,
I'm going to listen or I'm going to read it now.
I'm worried about the. They have a new series coming out called The Broken Blade, and I'm kind of concerned about that because he's in the book, and I'm like, oh
Broke
god,
her
is something
ankle.
going to happen? Like so, yeah.
Yeah.
But Jack, Force Encounters, you have a good one, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Oh gosh, can't remember what it was now.
No, you said it was
Oh,
so good. Can't be
yeah,
that good.
I did have one, but it's completely gone from me. I can't remember. I'll have to post it out on the socials if I remember it. Yeah, because I've been travelling that much and suffering with jet lag and that, it's just killing me off.
You're the one that's talking like
Yeah,
a dork this week.
I know. Yeah, I was watching Star Wars: A New Hope on the plane back. And it's
Oh,
proper old
marvelous.
school version as well. But yeah, now apart from that, that's pretty much it. Cool, right, we're going to move into a new segment of the show where we welcome our new explorers that are joining us on our Facebook pages, Instagram, Twitters. So this week we've got some amazing people that have joined us on our Gaze Eccentric ship.
Yeah.
Apologies if I absolutely butcher your names, but I'll give it the best shot. So we've got Jacob Varan Conis, I think it is, Maria Laffery, Calorin Schenk, and Adrian Hill. Welcome aboard.
Welcome, guys.
Welcome
Cool.
aboard.
Nice
Weapons
to have
and
you all.
blasters permitted. Safety on, though.
Yeah. Happy days. Right, let's head over now to Batu then and see what news we've got coming in.
On November 8th, 2003, in case you're listening to this from the future, SAG-AFTRA negotiators approved the latest proposal presented to them by Hollywood studios, ending the longest actors' strike on record at 118 days long. This means that though Andor had only 2 weeks left of filming, it's possible that more weeks could be added. At this time, there is no word on when Andor will resume filming. The second release window has altered, with the series releasing later this year, the series releasing later in the year or even early 2025. Also, the 4th season of The Mandalorian was slated to begin production in late September, with the series creator Jon Favreau sharing earlier this year that he had already finished the scripts for the 4th season of The Mandalorian. And Skeleton Crew wrapped filming in January of this year, and The Acolyte finished in May. The former was originally slated for release this year, however, again, both were delayed due to the strikes. There are rumors of The Acolyte being released in January, but that seems unlikely due to the lack of marketing at the moment. Nobody really knows when it will release. Yeah. It makes sense because there has been nothing come out, right?
Lots of big news. So obviously, I know a few people are asking, what does it all mean? So essentially, the news they've put together now, or we've put together, is essentially what it means for Star Wars, all these strikes. And as you can see what Taylor just said there, loads of delays, loads of stuff getting pegged back further and further. It's killing me about the Acolyte. However, one thing's for sure, it's going to be a jam-packed year, hopefully, of Star Wars. However, I'm going to pose this question to you, Jimmy. There, we've got Andor Season 2, we've got Skeleton Crew, Acolyte, and Season 4 Mando. Is that a good thing that we're going to get 4 lots of shows at once next year, or would you prefer it to be spaced out more?
Well, I also think Bad Batch Season 2 is probably getting ready to come out as well.
Good
So
shout.
Season
I
3,
think
right?
that we'll get, because when we got Mando Season 3 and Bad Batch
Yeah.
Season 2 at the same time. That was a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't mind. I wish it were different days. I don't know.
Yeah.
I know that people are like, oh, Star Wars fatigue and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I mean, I'll watch it. You know,
I'm
we'll
immune.
watch it. We'll review it. We'll do what we got to do. But, I mean, I think 3 shows in a year are probably pretty good. I don't know.
Yeah.
Right, you
But
Taylor,
yeah, I
what do
mean,
you
I'm going
reckon?
to take it. I'm not going to be mad about it.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I don't get Star Wars fatigue. I get like
Yeah, I
opposite.
don't.
So that's why I have like a whole shelf of books and a whole audio book, like Audible thing, like full of every single book out there. But that I do think that having that many would be probably too much. And I don't want to say like too much. I'm just saying like how are we keeping track of all this, and are they going to be overlapping each other? And I know we know that Disney Plus likes to rotate between like the big Marvel shows and the Star Wars shows, so
Yeah.
we have to look at what Marvel has coming out to kind of
Yeah.
see where the puzzle fits. That's how I'm going to
Well,
look
they
at
only
it.
got
But
one movie
I
coming out this year, so
Yeah.
Yeah, and you
Marvel
know what?
does. So
I
we'll
didn't
see.
actually really like that the Bad Batch came out at the exact same time as Mando season 3, because honestly, like I can't get my husband to stay on the couch longer than one show. So it's like, okay, today's Thursday, we're watching Mando and the animated show after, and it just wouldn't work that way. So I missed out on watching the Bad Batch when everybody else was watching it. So I watched it later. So I don't know. Just don't squish everything together. Space it out. Let us savor it.
I think they'll
Right?
spread it out. I mean, it'd be silly not to, because I
Yeah.
mean, I'm sure they got a back catalog of things, but I mean, it takes time to produce all that stuff. And I mean,
And a lot of
until
the
we get a
same people work
schedule,
on the same stuff too. So
yeah, until we get a schedule, I'm not going to worry about it too much. We'll see what
even
happens.
then,
Take it.
because nobody sticks to the damn schedule.
No, it doesn't seem like it.
Thing is what you've got to think about. You've got TV programs. We've got games coming out next year. We've got books coming out. Possibly more movies coming out. I don't get
Yeah.
Star Wars fatigue, but there will be a point where they're going to chuck so much out and they're going to run out of things, I think.
Yeah, I do
Ooh.
know that I don't get Star Wars fatigue, but it has eaten into, like, I haven't watched Loki season 2. There's a
Yeah,
couple,
neither me, neither have
and I
I.
usually watch those shows and stuff like that, but
Yeah.
I've been focused on other things. So I don't know. I mean, Star
Mm,
Wars is my first love. I think Marvel just kind of fills that gap until Star Wars has something
Yeah.
else for us. But
it's
yeah, I don't
true.
know. We'll
It's
see.
so true.
I'm very curious. I knew as soon as we talked about this last week, I think too, is like as soon as that writer strike was over, I guess I expected more news already. Like I thought we'd have a
Yeah.
slate. Like, hey, this is going to happen. This is going to happen. But um, people seem to be afraid to make decisions, which I don't understand. They get paid a lot of money to make choices, and they're not doing it.
Exactly.
hmm
So, I don't know. We got some news with the gaming. Unfortunate news comes out from a reputable industry leader, Jeff Grubb, who says basically the Knights of the Old Republic remake is not going to happen. It's done.
Ah,
As
what
far
the
as he's
heck?
concerned, um, Sony doesn't have anything that won't have anything to do with it. Disney or Sony needs to step in and make it happen. But I mean, I'm assuming Sony has other things going on,
Yeah.
Hmm.
so we'll see. Um,
I think they've kind of
I don't
washed their
know.
hands with it.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because I know lots. I mean, when that was announced, or was it ever officially announced, or was it just
No, I don't think it
speculation?
was. I think it was just people talking about it and speculation.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean,
Uh,
it's disappointing. I've never played. I mean, it's kind of at the age where I was. I mean, I was in the army and things like that when I think that stuff came out. But I was looking forward to it coming out for the PlayStation 5 and ripping through it.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, it had been a fantastic game. Also, after months of speculation over who may play Mr. Reed Richards, aka Mr. Fantastic, in the Marvel Studios film Fantastic Four, the wait might finally be over. Whilst the deal's far from done, there are some dirty, dirty rumours that Pedro Pascal is in the talks to play the leader of the iconic superhero team leader. So, what could that mean then for Mandalorian Season 4? That's what we're going to be talking about in about 5 minutes and brings us to the end of our news. Okay, awesome. So the first thing then we are going to be talking about is, like we just mentioned in the news previously, rumours about the departure or essentially Pedro Pascal taking over as Reed Richards in the upcoming Fantastic Four film. So what does that mean for Star Wars or The Mandalorian? Again, I'm just going to stress these are just rumours at the minute. Nothing's been confirmed whatsoever. We'll start with you, Taylor. What do you think? Is this going to be good? Is it going to be bad? And are you actually bothered?
Um, I don't know. I guess I feel like I should be more bothered, but it wouldn't be surprising to me if Pedro picked the Marvel movie over Mandalorian TV show, because he's an actor, and what are you going to choose? The one where your face is completely covered for the entire series, or the one where you get like full face, like you're the head of the movie, right? Because he's the
Yeah.
leader of the Fantastic Four, whatever. But it was kind of like that with The Last of Us last year, right? Like we had The Last of Us coming out at the same time that we had Mandalorian pretty much coming out, which, by the way, I loved The Last of Us. But Pedro already started pushing away from the Mandalorian for that show,
Yeah.
that The Last of Us show. And we've already kind of chatted about it being like, it's called The Mandalorian. So we don't know. It might not even be about Din, right? It could be about Grogu. It could be about just a Mandalorian in general. I don't know. There's rumors that Katie Sackhoff is coming back. She's a pretty decent Mandalorian.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not upset by it. So
No. I know me and Jimmy, we were just talking about it off air, and Jimmy brought up a valid point, but just to move on to you, Jimmy. That's a good point, what you brought out there, Taylor, as well. And I think with The Last of Us as well, we've got season 2 coming out, or being made, coming out, recorded, whatever, filmed.
Yeah.
So again, he's in for a busy year next year if this is going to be the case.
yeah.
What do you think, Jimmy?
Well, I'm going to say something controversial. I don't think he's a very good actor, and I don't understand the hype. I mean, I think so I get it. Like, I think he deserves the accolades, but The Mandalorian, I think they missed the mark. When you have the greatest cowboy in American movie history, you have his grandson,
Yeah.
and it's a Western. I was concerned. I thought, well, maybe they could switch it, but then, of course, they show his face as a pilot in the Ahsoka series, so that kind of takes him out of becoming a Mandalorian. I'm not really bothered by it. He wasn't, in my opinion, Pedro. I would bet money that he was never even in the suit at all in season 3. So I mean, he's basically just a voice actor now. And then again, I don't think he's right for Reed Richards. There's other castings, I think.
No.
I mean, that guy's he's supposed to become the new Iron Man. Like, he's going to be the leader of, things moving
The
forward.
Avengers?
The rumors, like the Avengers and all that kind of stuff. Like, they're bringing everything together. But
why would they make Fantastic Four the head of the Avengers? Wasn't that like the least
because Reed
liked
Richards
Marvel
is like the
show?
smartest. But Reed Richards is like, if you read it, he's like smarter than anybody. Like, he's like the smartest guy, and though he leads things. But yeah,
is it going to be like Spider-Man again? How there's like 3 of the same damn thing remade like 3 times?
Well, I don't know. This would be the 3rd remake of the Fantastic Four when it comes out. It'll be the 3rd one they've done in recent history. But I'm sure they'll scrap the other 2. But I don't know. It doesn't bother me at all. Again, I think that, I mean, you could probably get a voice actor who sounds just like Pedro, and we would never know the difference.
Yeah.
I mean, in all seriousness, because my thing is, and I don't want to drag this out, but I think if you kill off Din, because all right, we're done with him, we're moving on to like the Mandalorian, like it's not him, like that relationship between Grogu and Din is very important to Star Wars fans. I mean, I myself, like when we're talking about the kind of, I'm like, well, what would they do with Grogu if, let's just say, Pedro doesn't want to come back? He's just not going to talk anymore. They're going to find a voice actor that sounds like him. Because if you kill that relationship in The Mandalorian, I don't think people would be very happy.
It's like the daddy and son, lone wolf and pup.
Yeah, I mean, I think someone else can be the Mandalorian, Katie Sackhoff, whatever. You're going to have Sabine back in the play.
Yeah,
but I don't think that they can actually, they kind of got themselves in a corner. They can't really write them off because of that relationship. I say they just find a voice actor and move on.
Yeah. No, some really good points. I agree as well with Jimmy about some of the things you said. He's an okay actor, but again, I agree with Jimmy in the fact that I don't get the heart behind him massively either. He was good in The Last of Us.
He was great in that. But
But like,
Yeah,
I
he
mean,
was.
most things.
yeah, but like you said, he wasn't even in the armour. I think for season 3 because we had obviously Brendan Wayne and Lateef Crowder. His stunt body double was doing a fantastic job as it is.
Yeah.
And I think, like Taylor said, if he's one of those actors where he likes his face to be seen, which is fair enough, whatever, that's probably why you're an actor, then going forward, The Mandalorian ain't going to be for you. Like you said there, though, Jimmy, it's a really good point that they can't just kill off Grogu because the relationship and how the whole show is built around them two, they'd be they are in a bit of a sticky situation. Well, that's not to say, obviously, we haven't seen anything of Grogu or the Mandalorian or heard of anything in any of the sequel stuff, which again, it could be taken two ways. One, obviously, nothing's been wrote about it or anything like that, or two, the upcoming movie, they could die if they're all coming together, so to speak, or get stranded somewhere. That seems to be the theme at the minute.
Mhm.
In terms of it being a good or a bad thing, again, like you saying, Jim, I don't really care, and Taylor, I don't really care either, if I'm honest. I'm not particularly bothered. I'd love the Mandalorian to
Yeah.
keep going and going and going, because I absolutely love the show. We have got a hell load of comments, which is amazing, from some of our explorers. I'll start us off. So Mark Ward, he thinks the show has moved on and become more like the Mandalorians. He reckons it probably should have stopped after season 2, and should have done a new series starting Bo-Katan. I thought that was a great comment, Mark.
Yeah.
Joe Overton, okay, she said, what if it was never Din's story also in the first place? Again, that's something I've mentioned numerous times, and I've also mentioned to someone called Luke that we know at Celebration that I thought that Pedro Pascal or the Mandalorian might die, and I still think it might be in his words of his reply to me where he said he doesn't think that'll ever happen. Well, it looks like it might. What have you
Ooh.
got over there, Taylor? Sorry, Jimmy, go on.
Well, no, I just remember Jake Swinburne. I don't see his name on here, but when we were at Celebration, he was the one who kind of started that whole conversation about it not Pedro or Din not being the Mandalorian. Like he doesn't
Yeah,
think
Yeah.
he
Shout out to
should.
Swinny.
So yeah,
great shout. What have you got, Taylor, comments-wise?
Jake Crafton said he thought the title always meant the group and not just Din, but believes that Pedro will be in the Mandoverse movie. Yeah, if it's a film, then I feel like Pedro will be like, oh, I have to take my helmet off for some reason or another, even though I've just like redeemed myself. But it's gonna
Yeah.
happen. And we have Adrian Hill who said, "Sad but true." Then again, how often was it his body double anyways? So exactly, we have our weapons specialist, and we have
Yeah.
like they do all the cool stuff. So it's like when you see him fighting and hand to hand combat stuff, that's not even Pedro Pascal. Like, I mean, we all know that, but I'm just pointing at the obvious. And also, like, we definitely heard Pedro admit that his shoulders are actually too wide to fit in the N1 Starfighter when he's wearing the suit. So every time they're ever filming in the little cockpit of the N1 Starfighter, it's Brendan Wayne, I believe, and then I think Lateef was a little bit too tall. But don't get mad at me if that's wrong. But I'm pretty sure every time there's an inside the flying and getting in and out of the ship, it's Brendan Wayne. And honestly, those guys who do all the movements and have trained and done all this, they are the true Mandalorians to me. They do.
Yeah.
They show by doing,
yeah. We have a couple more. Darren Briscoe says he left a very long and in-depth response, which was really good. But he thinks, but in summary, he thinks that he won't be involved and just did the voice in season 3 and wasn't in the armor, and thinks it doesn't matter as Brendan Wayne did a fantastic job anyways. So he's kind of saying the same stuff we were doing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Anakin Crespin, he likes the fact we have a character that doesn't remove his helmet often, and it's cool and badass. I think that's an excellent quote. I mean, think about Darth Vader,
Yeah.
right? Takes his helmet
Yeah.
off one time, and everyone's like, "Whoa!" And then Force Awakens comes on, and I remember my dad was so annoyed that Kylo Ren took his helmet off.
Yeah.
He's like it just takes all the mystery away from it being,
straight away. Yeah.
it just kind of took away, like, we know who he is, but I mean, everyone knew it was David Prowse in the suit. It still didn't, taking the helmet off. So yeah, I agree
Yeah.
with Anakin there too. I think that it is cool that people commit to that rule.
Yeah.
So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, awesome comments. Again, thank you, absolutely everybody. Again, especially like Jimmy was saying there, Darren, you absolutely left us a huge essay. But
It
thank
was
you
great
anyway.
though.
It was
We
absolutely
want those
huge.
big long ones.
Yeah, send in the comments, and as always, we'll do our best to read as much of it off as we can. We're now going to move into the main part of the show, basically called "Who's Your Actor." So essentially, there's a number of Star Wars players out there, all played by different actors. We'll start off with the Mandalorian straight away. So for me, Brendan Wayne is my Mandalorian. He always has been from the off. Just his whole ethos
Yeah.
about it. You can tell. For me, I can sort of tell. I think when he's the man in the armor, he's just got that certain swagger about himself, and how he portrays himself that is cowboy-esque. Hence, probably it's in his genes. But for me, the Mandalorian for me is Brendan Wayne. What about you, Taylor?
I don't want to sound like I'm totally copying you, but I definitely agree. Brendan Wayne, I feel like he is the real Mandalorian. Just because it's not his face doesn't mean that all of his hard work doesn't show. And he always gets back to the fans, and he's always reaching out, and he's doing these little
Yeah.
live videos and stuff. And he's just a friendly guy. He's such a nice guy. Like, I've never met him in person. I've chatted with him a little bit on Instagram. Hey, Brendan.
Yeah.
But he's even like a coach, like a soccer coach and everything, right, Jimmy? Like, you guys would get along totally too. You guys are very similar, I feel. So yeah, it's Brendan.
Yeah, I think Lateef and Brendan Wayne. Like, I don't want to take anything away from Lateef either, though. I think
Yeah,
those
no.
two probably spent more time in the uniform, in the suit, in the armor. When he takes his helmet off for the Brown Eyes episode, and he takes it off to tug at our heartstrings, but most of the work being done is Brendan and Lateef. So I would say a combination of those two. I would love. I really was hoping, and I remember thinking this, that they would give Lateef and Brendan their own Mandalorians to be, like let them bring in new characters.
That's
and
an awesome idea.
Oh, that'd be so
But
good.
I think, like I said earlier, I do believe that they kind of shot themselves in the foot with having him be an X-wing pilot in Ahsoka. So maybe Lateef still can do it, because that'd be cool. He could let his hair down and just be stood. So,
yeah. Oh my gosh, he has the coolest hair. Lateef is the weapons specialist, right? He's the one that's like
kind of
super
acrobatic and stuff like that.
Yeah, they're so crazy. I've seen some of the their little training videos and stuff and their rehearsals. It's amazing. It's awesome.
Yeah. Awesome. So that's how we're basically going forwards from this point onwards. Again, it's nothing against any of the actors. Obviously, some of the actors were in different eras. It's just basically how that actor resonated with us. We're going to start next with Obi-Wan. I know Jimmy, the biggest fan probably of us three of Obi-Wan, so we'll start with Jimmy. Who have you got, Jimmy?
Oh man, it's kind of crazy because we got 3 movies in a series with Ewan McGregor. We've got a little bit of Alec Guinness over the years, and then we have a ton of James Arnold Taylor. And I can't think of the guy who did it for Rebels. I know it wasn't James in Rebels, but I would have to say, as far as live action, like Ewan McGregor,
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen him on screen more, I believe, like the transition to Alec Guinness.
Yeah.
I mean, I know the whole aging thing on Tatooine, whatever, but I had to say, like, Ewan would probably be my pick for like Obi-Wan, but again, all three different things like that. But I don't know, maybe we would have gotten more Alec Guinness. Things would have, because we get him very limited. So I would say Ewan McGregor for me.
Cool. What about you, Taylor?
Yeah, it's gonna be Ewan McGregor for me. I've grown up having like a mega crush on him. So like everybody who's ever worked with me knew that I always had like pictures of Ewan like around Christmas, and it was like, don't forget what Christmas is about. It's like Ewan McGregor is Obi-Wan, you know what I mean? So good. And Ewan just loves that character so much. Like, he is so committed to him. I've seen all like the behind the scenes where he gets to do all the training and pick his own lightsaber back in the day, and like everyone's seen where they're like standing there shaving his hair when he's like young, and like now he pushed so hard for the Kenobi live action TV show. He like co-directed it and co-wrote it and everything, and he's still pushing for season 2. So he's emotional. He everything about Ewan screams Obi-Wan to me, to be honest.
Yeah.
If,
Yeah.
yeah.
Go on,
Go
Jimmy.
ahead, Jack.
Oh, okay.
No, you go first. I'll say something about James afterwards.
So yeah, I'm on the same wavelength with everyone else. Ewan McGregor for me, but that's again purely because I've grown up with obviously the Phantom Menace and that, and seeing Alec McGuinness is absolutely quality. He makes Obi-Wan
sure.
to begin with the mystique of the character and that. You know, he gets you interested straight away, doesn't he? But just for me, Ewan McGregor's put so much into the character, and he has made it his own. And yeah, so for me, it was Ewan McGregor. What are you going to say, Jimmy?
Mm-hmm.
If you ever get a chance, there's a podcast called Force Center Podcast, and they have this episode where James Arnold Taylor comes on, and he is delightful to listen to.
Oh man!
And I've listened to that one. He's actually trying to. At one point, he was trying to get like a one-man play of Obi-Wan Kenobi, but like Lucasfilm was kind of squashing that. So I mean, I know he's at everything Star Wars. Like if he can be there for autographs and for signing, I have his autograph and I have a photo with him. And then of course I did the same thing with Ewan McGregor. Obviously I can't get Alex, but so yeah, he's a super nice guy, and I'm sure Alec Guinness was as well. I mean, he sounded like a class act, the stuff that Mark says about him.
So. Yeah.
Well, he helped out. He helped out Anthony Daniels when they were first starting to film A New Hope, and he helped pay for him. Yeah, he was like, "Did you get some money to get yourself to the hotel?" And Anthony Daniels was like, "No," and he's like, "Oh well, here you go," and he gave him some spending money to get to the hotel and stuff, and they shared a cab, and apparently him and his wife were just so nice to Anthony Daniels. So.
One of them genuinely nice people. The other guy that Jimmy was talking about, the Obi-Wan in Rebels, was Stephen Stanton as well. He's the guy that voiced him.
Yeah, okay.
Good memory, Jack.
The next character that we're going to bring up is one of my favourites, is Darth Maul. I'll start us off straight away with this, and for me it's Ray Park. I've met Ray Park. That guy's an absolute gentleman, but he's extraordinarily talented with all his mixed martial arts that he does. He took the time to have a good chat with me as well. But again, you give him a lightsaber when he's signing an autograph, he'll start spinning above his head and doing backflips and all sort of craziness with you. He is insane. So for me, Ray Park is my Darth Maul. I know Sam Witwer was excellent with all the voicing as well. Big fan of Sam. But for me, my Darth Maul's Ray Park. What about you, Taylor?
I'm gonna go ahead and say Sam Witwer. I just think I know Ray Park put so much effort into the character and training and everything like that, but it wasn't his voice, and I don't know, I can just always hear Darth Maul talking and from the Clone Wars, and I see Sam Witwer, his voice and Kenobi, he's so good at making that character come to life and giving him so much emotion, and just the way he talks in Rebels, and just so good. So, yeah, a little bit different, but.
What about you, Jimmy? Who have you got for Darth Maul?
I say we've spent more time with Sam Witwer as far as him being, voicing the character. Ray Park, we've got him in Phantom Menace, and then we got him. Was his body double the one they used for the animated stuff for season 7? I know they had him in season Solo, and then they got himself in trouble, so I don't want to get into all that. But I wasn't sure if Disney brought him back for that. Remember how they did for season 7 of Clone Wars? They recorded those two fighting, and then they put the characters over top of it. But I would have to say, and having met Sam twice now, and he's super nice. I'm sure Ray is too. I've seen stuff with Ray, he's always out there swinging lightsabers and flipping around like a crazy man.
Yeah,
I would love to meet him.
Brilliant.
I would love to meet him, but I would have to say Sam just because I've spent more time with him as Darth Maul. But Ray did a great job bringing that. This is like Alec Guinness, bringing that character to life. We don't have him without him. So
no, exactly.
Tip of the hat to Ray Park. So.
Yes,
and obviously it's worth shouting out. We had 3 more actors that played Darth Maul as well, or did some voicing. 2 of them were Lego. I've not really counted them in it, to be honest, the Lego stuff. but the other guy
Yeah.
was Peter. Oh God, Serafin. Oh God, I'm going to butcher this. Serafinotsky or something like that. Basically, he was the guy. He was the guy that said the lines in Phantom Menace.
Oh,
Yeah,
let's
so
let me reveal
Oh
the
yeah, yeah,
names.
yeah.
yeah.
Next, we're going to start with Taylor, and I'll give you the hardest one. I think probably of the list I've got is Darth Vader. Now, Darth Vader was played by so many people. Hayden
So many
Christensen,
people.
James Earl Jones, David Prowse, Matt Lanter, Spencer Wilding, Matt Lucas, Sebastian Shaw. There's so many, but we've kept it to a couple. I'm pretty sure I know what Taylor or who Taylor's going to go with, but anyway, take it away.
You don't actually.
Oh, okay.
So when I think Darth Vader, I think David Prowse. So
Yes.
yes, because there's so many of these great old photos of David Prowse and like him holding the helmet, just big smile on his face. The guy loved kids, even though he's like
Yeah.
cast as this evil character. Like he was like the road safety guy that was like, look both ways before you cross the road. Like before he was even Darth Vader, and just his presence and like his like he's just so tall, and he was he a wrestler or was it a boxer
He's a
before?
kickboxer.
Yeah,
Yeah, kickboxer, I
Bodybuilder,
think.
right?
No,
so
bodybuilder,
kickboxer,
yes. Bodybuilder.
bodybuilding.
The
Yeah,
kickboxer was Spencer Wilding.
right. Okay, so he's just I don't know. I just think of like Darth Vader and I think of David Prowse.
Yeah.
But then
Yeah.
and it's really, I'm finding it really hard to picture Hayden Christensen underneath the Darth Vader helmet. Like,
Yeah.
yes, we are getting that in Kenobi and they're slowly morphing over and we're starting to see more Hayden like in the Ahsoka show and like the yellow eyes and getting angry and his angry personality and stuff. And then he calms back down and becomes Anakin again. But when I see a big picture of tall Darth Vader, original Darth Vader, I think of David Prowse.
Yeah.
But
Well,
Anakin Skywalker's absolutely got to be Hayden Christensen. Like, I don't know. I can't.
yeah, absolutely. What about you? God, I forgot your name then. Jimmy. Who's your Darth Vader?
Whoever the hell you are.
Hi, I'm Jimmy. I'm gonna cheat, you guys. I'm cheating. I'm going to split this character up from Anakin and Darth Vader because I don't think
No.
that because Matt Lant, those two, Hayden and Matt, they are Anakin, right? And
Yeah.
I would have
Yeah.
a tough time deciphering between those two. I mean, I think that Hayden got done dirty a little bit because he didn't have the best writing in this, in the prequels.
His
But him coming
dialogue's a
back,
bit iffy.
yeah, and that's not his fault. I mean, that's
Yeah.
no one told George no, like, hey George, this is real bad. But and then Matt's character, through 7 seasons of the Clone Wars, filled in those gaps, made you appreciate the fall of Anakin. I mean, I
Yeah.
will go with Hayden Christensen just because he came back. He seemed so enthusiastic.
Oh, he's so
I'm not gonna
great.
not gonna blame him for no one standing up to George Lucas when it came to writing love lines and all that stuff. And then Darth Vader. Oh man, I've seen the. You guys seen that "I Am Your Father"
Yeah. Yeah.
documentary? That made me kind of fall in love with the guy. Felt like he got a bad rap. I remember seeing that and then trying to let David Prowse back to Celebration movement going, and it didn't happen. I thought they could have maybe buried the hatchet. But I will
No.
say that the voice, James Earl Jones, you've seen the behind the scenes where they have like David Prowse voicing
Yeah.
Vader,
Yeah.
and that would not have done it. Vader would not have been scary at all. So I'm going to give
No.
this one to James Earl Jones as
Nice.
far as being Vader, because I mean, without James,
Yeah.
Vader, I
Yeah.
mean, he might be tall and scary, but there's no Vader.
Yeah.
Did you know that David Prowse didn't even know that they were going to voice over him? He didn't
Mm-mm.
even
And
know.
he,
And then
Crazy.
and then
and so he was watching
yeah,
it in the theater. He's like, hmm?
yeah, there was some beef behind the scenes after Empire. Then it gets. You should listen to that if you get that documentary. It's really worth watching. They do
Yeah.
black out the remake of the end of Return of the Jedi, but it's really worth watching. It'll make you kind of see it from David Prowse's point of view as well.
Yeah.
Jack, yeah.
Yeah, so with me, mine's a bit different as well. So mine is David Prowse, but it's also someone else. It's splitting off, and it's the exact same reasons as why it's David Prowse. So I've got David Prowse and I've got Spencer Weldon, and I've met them both. And again, especially Spencer Weldon, absolutely amazing people to talk to. David Prowse, in terms of just being a great person, chatting to him, I thought his acting in a suit was brilliant. But Spencer Weldon, man, that guy is an actual beast in real life. He towered over me. Former kickboxing champion, heart of an absolute angel. My daughter, when I took her, she wouldn't even look at him because she was petrified.
Oh, I
But
remember you telling me that.
yeah, but he did his best to cool her down. And I do sort of drop him a message every now and then on Facebook because again he replies to fans all the time. I think he's currently out in the States at the minute training. So big, and I know he does actually listen every now and again. So if he is listening, hello there, Spencer. But yeah, when he come on the scene in Rogue One and started dicing people up with the movements he was doing and how he was doing it, I was like, that is Vader at his peak.
Oh,
And he was
yes.
tearing people up. So for me, it's Spencer Weldon followed closely by David Prowse. But again, I agree with what Jimmy was saying there with the voice of James Earl Jones. Such an iconic voice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's hard to separate. Even with the Mandalorian, I know we kind of felt like maybe we were bashing on Pedro a little bit, but his voice is the Mando. He's got a great voice for it.
Yeah.
It just
Yeah.
it all kind of has to be there. It all has to come together, especially when you're wearing a mask and
Yeah.
doing that acting. So
100%. Okay, happy days. The next one we're going to move on to then is Han Solo. Cool. Yes. So Han Solo. This is gonna be pretty quick. Harrison Ford all day long. I don't think anyone else is gonna change anything different with that, are we? Really? But what I will say is Alden. I can't even pronounce his name, so Jimmy, you can pronounce it in a minute because I know you're a fan of him. I think he did a fantastic job in Solo, and I would more than happy have a Solo too. What do you think, Jimmy?
yeah, I would agree. I mean, Harrison Ford will always be Han Solo to me.
Yeah.
But I mean, obviously, people who listen know that Solo is my favorite Star Wars movie for whatever reason. And I thought
It's just
Alden
so
Ehrenreich did
fun.
an awesome job
Yeah.
being Han. I would love to see more of him in the shows. I think there's a lot there. I guess I just don't understand Hollywood sometimes. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I would go with Harrison Ford.
Taylor, anything different?
Nope, it's gonna be Harrison Ford for me because he pretty much created that character. As much
Happy days.
as right? As much as George Lucas wrote like Han Solo, it was Harrison Ford's attitude and snootiness and impatience of having to read the same script over and over again to try and find the Luke character that it was like, you know what? You are that a-hole pilot that runs spice across the galaxy. Perfect. You know what I mean? So, yeah, Harrison Ford.
Cool. Happy days. So next up then, trusty sidekick for Harrison Ford, Chewbacca. Obviously, there was two main people that did Chewie. We'll start with you then, Taylor. Who's your Chewbacca?
I want to say Peter Mayhew because he's just the original Chewbacca. But is it? How do you pronounce it? Jonas.
Jonas.
He is absolutely a Star Wars fan. He loves this new role of Chewbacca. I think he has a bit more mobility. I don't want to say I don't want to say it in a bad way. Peter Mayhew might have not had the most mobility as but I think that Jonas is bringing this new energy that we need to the Chewbacca character, and I believe he was he also Chrysanthemum, or was that a completely different guy? No, that was totally a different guy, right?
Different
Yeah,
guy.
it was. You're right. Totally different. And you could actually tell by how their movements too that they're just different. So I'm gonna say Jonas because I have a lot of faith in him for the future, and I really liked him in all of the
Cool.
new ones.
Yeah, it makes sense. For me,
and
Peter
he doesn't
Mayhew.
have painted eyes too. So it's just a little bit better.
For me, Peter Mayhew, and again, the reason for the painted eyes is so it looks better in the mask. We do it all the. I say we. The UK duty lads do it all the time. They look amazing. But yeah, for me, Peter Mayhew is absolutely the god of Chewbacca. I do like Jonas. I managed to meet him at Celebration. However, I think he's a bit too enthusiastic of what I've seen in the sequels for me, especially judging how old Chewbacca is at this stage. But I
Yeah.
think Jonas will absolutely knock it out the park for the new Wookiee that he's portraying in The Acolyte.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I
Is it
hope it's
Buryaga?
furry.
Is it?
Oh my
Is
god, I
it?
hope it's furry.
Johnny O believes it is, and I believe in Johnny O.
Well, you look at the artwork that they released for the High Republic Phase 3 things, it does look
It
pretty
does,
similar now you've said it.
yeah.
So you heard it here first.
It's gotta be him because like think of how old Vernestra
We'll
is going to
see.
be and how she looks.
Yeah,
What about you, Jimmy?
Ah.
Who's your Chewbacca?
man, I've got a sad story about this. So
Oh.
Chicago Celebration was at 2017. Is that 18? I don't remember. I was supposed to meet Peter Mayhew to get an autograph or a photo. I can't remember which one. And the word that got out that he wasn't. And it was weird because I was looking over and I was like, I'm just going to run over there and try to get in there now. And I didn't. And he canceled the rest of the show. And I'm like, that's the last chance I'm ever going to get to meet Peter Mayhew. And then he unfortunately passed a little
Passed
bit
away.
later,
Yeah.
right after
Oh.
Celebration. And I was just like, something that always like kind of bums me out a little bit that I never got the chance because. And I got to meet Jonas at that celebration, and he is super enthusiastic. Nice.
Yeah.
He signed he got a Funko signed by him, and I think he's part of the reason I love Solo so much because it's finally got. I mean, I do think because Peter had like health issues and things. I think
Yeah.
he was just so tall that they put him in that suit.
It's spine
And
issue.
Jonas is
Yeah.
like an NBA or he played for the Swedish national team, I think. So he's real athletic, and he brought Chewbacca for me to life. Like
Yeah.
ripping. I mean, always want to see ripping people's arms out of their
Yeah,
sockets.
that guy could
I mean,
do it.
He slams that guy and all those kinds of things. So I mean, it is a toss up for me, but I do think that like again, like I'm going to say this again. It sounds like a cop out, but I think that Peter brings the character to life. But I think Jonas has brought another level of like athleticism, the stuff that you can do with Chewie. You wouldn't have been able to do any of that stuff with, nothing against him, but you wouldn't have been able to do those kinds of things. So I'm going to go with Jonas, even though Peter Mayhew seems like an absolute saint. He was an awesome ambassador for Star Wars, from everything I hear. Rest in peace. But I'm going to go with Jonas, I think.
Yeah, nice. Brings on to the next one then. Lando. I'll start us off. Quite controversial for me, but I think Donald Glover. And it's the same reasons what Jimmy just said, literally, for Solo. I absolutely loved him in Solo. I hated him in Empire Strikes Back because he betrayed everyone. And then that was literally the reason because I was so young. I hated him. And then Return of the Jedi, I was like, I wouldn't let him back in my gang, so to speak. And then the next time really I saw him after that was the sequels. But for me, Donald Glover was absolutely quality in Solo. It's another reason why I love the Solo films. I thought it was absolutely amazing, Donald Glover. So again, quite controversial, but for me, I'm going to go for Donald Glover. I'm going to come straight back to you, Jimmy. What do you think?
I want that TV show or movie to be Billy D. Williams narrating, and then Donald Glover going through and doing everything he's talking about.
Yeah,
I think that would be. That's what I thought. I was hoping the show what it's going to be, but oh man, I think
don't know if you
once
could
we
do
get the
it
movie
anymore.
with Glover, then maybe I'll switch my answer. But I'm going to go Billy D. Williams. I will say that I was super impressed with him in The Force Awakens, The Rise of Skywalker, because I got to meet him also at Chicago for some of the same reasons I went and met him because I was worried about his age. And he was nice. He was definitely not doing well from my interaction with him with the photo.
And that was years ago too, right?
Well, that's the thing too. That's why whenever they had him speaking so much in the Rise of Skywalker, I was kind of blown away. I was like, "Whoa!" Like wow, that was a lot. Like
weren't in great shape, was he last year?
No, it was a better performance than I thought we were going to get. So I will say Billy D. Williams. That could change after the movie that we're getting? I think.
Yeah.
Or I mean, who knows? Who knows? But yeah, I'll go Billy D.
Yeah.
What about you, Taylor?
I'm going to go Billy D. Williams as well, just because when I think of Lando, I honestly just think of Billy D. Williams. And I don't even think of like young, I don't even think of him being like young in the originals. I'm thinking of him now. He's even like wrote his book. He's look what is it called? Look what we have here. I think is what the
Yeah.
book is called. I mean, I remember seeing him seeing him on TV at Celebration because you guys were there, and I was up at 4:30 in the morning over here in Canada, and I don't even think I wasn't sure that Billy was going to make it through that panel that he was on. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know if he forgot to take like his meds or something, but he was just like
They
out of
struggled.
it, and
Well,
like,
that's what.
and like the other actors are like trying to help him and stuff, but it's like I don't know. I love him for just his character, his like personality, what he brought to the table.
Yeah.
And he's still trying even with his health issues and stuff.
Yeah.
So honestly, I remember sitting with Matilda. We were FaceTiming and we were watching Celebration Live. And I was talking to Matilda, and we were just like, "This is the last time we're going to see him live." Like, but I don't know how he's doing now. So, but yeah, I love Donald Glover. He's super funny, and he tried really hard to get that suave, casual sitting. Like, it's good, but when I think of Lando, I think of Billy D. Williams for sure.
Cool. Happy days. So, next one we'll move on to. It's going to be the last one. Is clones. Okay. So again, there's a number of clones. I was going to say there's a number of people that do the clone stuff.
200 units, a million more on the way.
We've got D. Bradley Baker or Tamora Morrison. Jimmy, do you want to start us off with this one, dude?
Yeah, this was a tough one because I know I saw your list and I added this one because I was thinking about it. I am going to say D. Bradley Baker because he brought clones to life. He did way more time with him. We have him as the Bad Batch crew. We have him at every single different clone in the Clone Wars. They're all the same, but they're different somehow, which is amazing. And I know he's won awards for his voice acting. I think I would like to see if Tim Morris has like the range as an actor to play a Cody and then turn right around and play a Rex, which is disappointing that we haven't got to see him be a clone trooper yet. I think it's a wasted. I mean, I don't know how that would have fit in Ahsoka. Well, I'm glad they didn't force it in there, but I would like to see more than just him sitting on the ground asking Kenobi for change. But I want to go D. Bradley Baker.
Taylor?
Yeah. I'm going to go with D. Bradley Baker as well. Because he brings, you're right, he brings the clones to life, gives them all personalities, makes us fall in love with them. And honestly, as soon as I see a clone helmet, it doesn't even matter if it's like phase 1, phase 2. I just think of the animated clones underneath, and like D. Baker's voice is just the clone voice. It's not even Tim Wera's voice that I think of as in clones. Like it's the animated one. And when I think Tim Wera, I instantly think Boba Fett, and I know Boba Fett is also a clone, but like I think that their personality and their life experience is what makes a person who they are, just because of their genetics and like whatever. But they're so different, even though they're so similar. But anyways,
yeah. And I agree with both of your points straight away there. My clone would be D. Bradley Baker again, just because of how talented he is, and he is the voices, especially the stuff he does in Bad Batch as well. It's absolutely incredible. And then Tamora Morrison, I wouldn't say he's my Boba Fett because that's Jeremy Bulloch. Again, that's a guy that I've met. Absolutely gent of a bloke.
Man, we could have done that one.
But Tamora Morrison is definitely going to be my Jango Fett. So we'll give him that one at least.
Yeah. With hair.
Yeah. What are you going to say, Jimmy?
Well, I think I would say the same thing. Like Jeremy Bulloch creates the character.
Yeah.
I mean, how much time did Boba Fett have in Empire and in Return of the Jedi? Seconds. None. It seems like maybe a minute or two. So
yeah. You're right, but that's the credit of the costume department and the acting as well. That, like you said,
for sure,
a couple of minutes and the impact that he had was phenomenal.
Oh, it's crazy.
So, but that pretty much wraps up this week's show. Again, we could have done this all evening, day, morning, night, wherever you are. If you've got anything that you don't agree with, or you want to put your own thoughts and comments again, please get on Explore the Force on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Threads, any other platforms that we've got, anything like that, or feel free to email in. Yeah, YouTube as well. Feel free to email in, exploretheforce@gmail.com. As always, please keep your comments coming in. We will read as many off as we can, and look forward to next week where we're going to start chucking some stuff out about certain bounty hunters. So, as always, we'll close the show with Taylor.
For light and life.
For myself, your focus determines your reality.
Is that your tattoo? No, it's joking.
And we have spoken. Have a good one, everybody.
Yeah, look at that smile on Jimmy's face.
So we didn't play today.
They did.